Atlanta has always been a city where the nights breathe louder than the days, where music, gossip, and glitter blur into a storm of secrets, but nothing could have prepared the streets for what went down that night. What was supposed to be just another wild evening inside Club Cena turned into the kind of chaos that leaves scars not only on faces but on reputations. Because that was the night Bambi was literally dragged out of the club after a brutal fight with none other than Scrappy's rumored new girl. Phones were everywhere, capturing every scream, every swing, every second that would later explode across TikTok and Instagram like gasoline meeting fire. But here's the truth most people don't want to admit. That fight wasn't just about jealousy, it wasn't just about another woman. It was the breaking point of a marriage already on life support. A spectacle that turned private heartbreak into public humiliation. And maybe, just maybe, the start of something far darker than fans realize. For months, whispers had been circling like vultures around Bambi and Scrappy's marriage. Fans noticed the distance, the half-hearted photos, the captions that read more like warnings than declarations of love. Bambi had been posting cryptic lines about respect, about loyalty, about how tired she was of being taken for granted. And, in the shadows, the image of a mysterious woman kept surfacing, a woman, allegedly seen beside Scrappy at private events. A woman tagged in subtle Instagram posts, a woman who seemed to be taunting Bambi without ever saying her name. To outsiders, it looked like gossip, but to insiders, it was the outline of betrayal. The so-called new girl wasn't just passing through, she was already becoming a storyline. So when Bambi walked into Club Cena that night, surrounded by friends, head held high, looking like a queen but carrying the storm of suspicion in her chest, people could feel the tension. Witnesses said her smile never reached her eyes. Her laugh felt forced. Her drink clutched tighter than usual. Something was off. And then came the entrance that shifted the entire energy of the room. Scrappy himself, strolling into VIP with the very woman blogs had been whispering about for weeks. Phones went up instantly. You could feel the crowd watching, waiting, because everyone knew one thing: this wasn't going to end quietly. At first, Bambi tried to keep her composure. Witnesses swear she sipped her drink slowly, leaned into her friends' jokes, acted like nothing was happening. But her eyes kept cutting across the room, locked in on that woman by Scrappy's side. And then it happened. The alleged new girl leaned close, whispered into Scrappy's ear, and smirked. That one gesture, simple, smug, undeniable, was the last straw. Bambi slammed her glass down, heels clacking against the floor like warning shots as she marched across the club. The crowd parted as if they knew history was about to unfold. "You really think you're going to replace me?" Bambi shouted, finger pointed like a dagger. "You'll never be me." The room gasped. Scrappy, caught in the middle, looked like a man drowning in his own mess. But before he could speak, the alleged new girl fired back. "At least he wants me around, unlike you." The crowd lost its mind. Screams, flashes, phones raised higher. And in that moment, Bambi lunged. Drinks flew, hair was yanked, nails clawed, and the music of the club was drowned out by chaos. Security rushed in, but the scene was already out of control. Witnesses later said it was one of the most vicious fights they'd ever seen in an Atlanta club. And then came the moment that broke the internet. Bambi, heels scraping the floor, being dragged out by two massive guards. Screaming, cursing, fighting to get back at the woman who had smirked her way into the spotlight. Her hair was disheveled, her outfit torn, but her rage burned hotter than the lights above her. That image, frozen in shaky cell phone footage, became an instant viral sensation. Hashtags like #Bambi dragged out and #Scrappy drama trended within hours. Some fans called it karma. Others called it cruelty. But everyone agreed on one thing. The night Bambi lost her cool became the night the internet crowned a new villain, and maybe a new queen. But to understand why Bambi snapped, you have to rewind. Her marriage with Scrappy had already been poisoned by years of rumors, by whispers of side chicks, by nights where he showed up with smiles for everyone but her. For too long, she had played the loyal wife, holding her family together while the streets painted her man as a playboy. And now, standing across from a woman bold enough to taunt her in public, she wasn't just defending her pride. She was defending years of silence, years of sacrifice, years of disrespect. That fight wasn't just fists. It was everything she had swallowed, spilling out in the ugliest way possible. And yet, while fans debated whether Bambi was justified, the internet started spinning another theory. What if she had been set up? What if the woman by Scrappy's side knew exactly what she was doing? Insiders claimed she had been waiting for that moment, baiting Bambi into a public breakdown. And when the footage showed her smiling smugly in the background while Bambi was dragged away, fans wondered, was that satisfaction or strategy? The leaks that followed only made things messier. Within hours, extended footage surfaced online. In it, you can hear muffled words, a whisper allegedly coming from the new girl aimed straight at Bambi, "He doesn't want you anymore." If true, those 5 words explained everything: the rage, the lunge, the uncontrollable fury. But that wasn't all the video revealed. Scrappy, instead of protecting Bambi, seemed to shield the other woman, standing in front of her, yelling at his wife to calm down. That detail alone sent fans spiraling. "He never defended her," one comment read. "That tells you everything." By the next morning, the narrative was no longer just about a fight. It was about betrayal, humiliation, and the unraveling of a marriage in real time. Bloggers plastered screenshots with captions like "the end of Bam" and "Scrappy" and "Meet the new girl who made Bambi snap." The alleged mistress herself leaned into the drama. Posting a photo holding Scrappy's chain with the caption, "He chose me." It was shade turned into a declaration, and the internet ate it up. But Bambi wasn't about to stay quiet. The very next day, she went live on Instagram. Hair tied back, eyes blazing, voice shaking with fury. She spoke to thousands of fans watching in real time. "I don't care what y'all saw in that video," she snapped. "What you didn't see is that girl in my face disrespecting me, trying to humiliate me in public. I ain't the one to play with. Y'all know me. I held it down for Scrappy for years. I gave him loyalty. I gave him my all, and this is what I get. Him parading some side chick around like I don't exist. Nah, I wasn't about to let that slide." The comments section went wild: hearts, fire emojis, endless cheers. But then she dropped the bomb that set social media on fire. "Y'all think she's just some random? She been around too long, longer than y'all think. That's why I'm done. Done trying to save a man who don't even want to be saved." That line, "longer than y'all think," ignited the internet like nothing else. Suddenly, bloggers dug through old photos, old videos, old sightings, trying to connect Scrappy to the new woman in the background of events that stretched back months, maybe even years. Was this really new? Or had the betrayal been simmering under Bambi's nose the entire time? Fans felt sick. Some swore they spotted the same woman in group photos, in blurred backgrounds, even in old cast hangouts. If that was true, then this wasn't just infidelity, it was betrayal of the deepest kind. Meanwhile, Scrappy fanned the flames with his own cryptic post. A black screen with the words, "Y'all don't know the half." And maybe he was right, because what came next was far more explosive than anyone imagined. Leaked DMIs surfaced, online messages, allegedly between Scrappy and his new girl that dated back 2 weeks, even months, before the club fight. One message from her read, "You know I can't stand how she still calls herself your wife. I'm your future. Let's make her see that." And his reply, allegedly, was a heart emoji. And the words, "You already know what it is, baby." The internet erupted. Fans couldn't believe it. The receipts didn't just confirm cheating, they confirmed planning, plotting, a deliberate humiliation of the woman who had stood by him through endless drama. And then came the audio, a muffled, raw recording, allegedly from someone in Scrappy's circle. His voice, unmistakable, saying, "I told Bam I was done, but she don't listen. I got somebody who actually understands me now. I ain't going back." It was messy. It was cruel. And it was exactly what fans had feared. For Bambi, it was a dagger. Hours later, she appeared on social media again, but this time she wasn't fiery, she was broken. Sitting in her car, makeup smudged, voice cracking, she admitted, "I knew he was lying. I knew he was playing me. But to hear him say that like I was nothing, y'all, it hurts. It hurts deep. I gave that man everything." The internet exploded with sympathy. Hashtags like #JusticeForBam and #Scrappy exposed trended worldwide. Even Atlanta rappers chimed in, with one tweeting, "Never thought I'd see Bam treated like this. She deserves better." But as much as fans tried to defend her, another twist was coming. One that would shift the blame, the sympathy, and the narrative once again. The silence after Bambi's emotional car confession didn't last long. The internet was still reeling, divided between heartbreak and fury, when the next wave of leaks crashed in like a tidal storm. A well-known Atlanta blogger who had already stirred the pot dropped a cryptic message. That changed the tone of the entire scandal. "Be careful who you defend. Bam ain't as innocent as y'all think. Receipts dropping tonight. Within minutes, Twitter and Instagram turned into battlegrounds. Was this just damage control from Scrappy's camp? Or was there really more to the story than what the world had already seen? Hours later, the screenshots arrived, grainy, cropped images allegedly pulled from private conversations between Bambi and another man. They weren't clear enough to be beyond doubt, but they were damning enough to ignite chaos. In one screenshot, Bambi allegedly wrote, "He too, busy playing family man with everybody but me. You already know where my heart at." The reply, from an unnamed contact, read, "Say the word and I'll pull up. You know I got you." The implication was loud and ugly. While the world was painting Bambi as the loyal, humiliated wife, she might have already been entertaining someone else behind Scrappy's back. The reactions were immediate. Wait, so Bam was cheating too? One viral tweet asked, racking up thousands of likes in minutes. Another wrote, "I defended her like crazy, but if this is true, she just as messy as Scrappy." Suddenly, the narrative shifted. Sympathy turned into suspicion. People who had been crying out for justice on Bambi's behalf started pulling back, questioning whether she had been playing the victim all along. And just like that, the internet's queen of heartbreak was being recast as a villain. Then, like gasoline on an open flame, Scrappy went live, pacing in his living room, his voice filled with rage. He snapped at the camera. "Man, y'all really think y'all know everything. Everybody quick to drag me. Call me dirty. Call me a cheater. But what about Bam? What about what she was doing behind my back? Y'all think I ain't got proof? Man, please. I've been keeping quiet out of respect, but I ain't gon' let the internet keep crucifying me while she played the victim." He didn't show any receipts during the live, but the way he spoke, the fury in his eyes, left fans convinced he was holding on to something explosive. And then came the whisper that turned the scandal into a full-blown cultural earthquake. The mystery man in Bambi's alleged DMIs wasn't just a random Atlanta figure. He was rumored to be a rapper. That claim alone shattered the internet. Fans flooded forums and gossip blogs, dissecting every follow, every like, every blurry photo of Bambi at parties. They swore they saw her standing too close to someone in one grainy video clip, swore they recognized the chain he was wearing, swore the puzzle pieces fit. And though no one said the name out loud, the speculation was enough to turn the scandal into a wildfire that spread beyond love and hip-hop circles and into the broader hip-hop community. Meanwhile, the cast itself couldn't stay quiet. Insiders whispered that Rashida, who had been seen comforting Bambi after the fight, suddenly pulled back. According to one source, Rashida allegedly told friends, "I don't know what to believe anymore. I'm just trying to stay out of it." Even Yandi, who had messaged Bambi words of support, was now second-guessing. The alleged receipts were messy, confusing, but they were enough to shake the faith of women who had seen betrayal up close and didn't want to be tied to another scandal that could backfire. And while Bambi tried to process the betrayal of public opinion, Scrappy's rumored new girl doubled down. She reposted one of the blogs that carried the alleged DMS with the caption, "Ain't so innocent now, huh?" Hours later, she added, "Funny how tables turn." It was shade sharp enough to cut through steel, and fans devoured it. Memes flooded timelines, comparing Bambi's dragging out of the club to her alleged dragging online. What had started as her night of humiliation was now spiraling into something much bigger, a war for credibility. But just as fans thought the script had flipped completely, another rumor surfaced that made everything darker. A well-known, anonymous account claimed that the fight in the club wasn't just about jealousy or betrayal, it was about money. According to this account, Bambi had been sitting on secrets about unpaid debts tied to Scrappy's circle. Allegedly, the confrontation escalated because words about money owed were thrown around in the heat of the moment, and then came an audio leak muffled, chaotic, but allegedly Bambi's voice screaming, "You think you gone, play me and owe me money? We airing everything out tonight." Whether real or fabricated, the audio blew up the internet. Suddenly, the fight wasn't about a man. It wasn't about pride. It was about something deeper, something dirtier: business, betrayal, and possibly fraud. Blogs immediately ran headlines like, "Was Bambi dragged out over money, not love?" The whispers pulled in other names: Torashida, Jasmine, even young Jockall dragged into speculation about who owed what, who knew what, and who stood to lose if the truth came out. This was no longer just a messy love triangle. This was a scandal big enough to shake the foundation of love and hip-hop itself. Insiders claimed producers held emergency calls. panicking that the drama was about to eclipse their carefully crafted storylines. One insider allegedly said, "This isn't the season we thought we were making. This is way bigger." And they were right, because even as the internet picked sides, one looming threat hung over everything: the unreleased surveillance tape from the club. Multiple witnesses swore the cameras had been rolling, catching every second of the confrontation in crisp detail. But the footage mysteriously vanished. Shaky cell phone clips dominated the blogs, but the one video that could clear everything or expose everyone was nowhere to be found. That absence alone fueled conspiracy theories. Who had the tape? Why was it being hidden? And most importantly, what did it show? Whispers claimed the footage didn't just show a fight. It allegedly showed a private exchange between Bambi and the new girl right before fists flew. Some said it proved Bambi attacked first. Others swore it showed the new girl whispering provocation, meant to push her over the edge. And then, one chilling rumor spread. The tape revealed something neither side wanted the world to see. Something tied to money, betrayal, and names much bigger than just Bambi or Scrappy. As if that wasn't enough, industry voices began chiming in. An Atlanta rapper close to Scrappy tweeted, "If y'all knew half the stuff that went down behind the scenes, y'all would shut up." The message, vague but heavy, only deepened the mystery. Who was he protecting? Who was he warning? Fans dissected every word, convinced that the rapper knew about the money angle. Maybe even about the surveillance tape, by now. The scandal had left the world of love and hip-hop and crossed into mainstream coverage. Entertainment sites that normally ignored Atlanta nightlife were suddenly posting headlines about Bambi being dragged out, Scrappy's cryptic posts, and the alleged money trail behind the chaos. Even people who had never watched an episode of the show were chiming in online. Who are these people and why is their drama better than Netflix? The spectacle was unstoppable, and yet, through it all, Bambi's silence became louder than her screams. For a woman who had gone live multiple times to defend herself, her sudden decision to go quiet raised questions. Was she planning a strategic comeback? Or had lawyers stepped in, telling her to stay silent until the smoke cleared? Meanwhile, Scrappy's new girl basked in the attention, posting a smug selfie with a money bag emoji and the caption secured. Fans were stunned by the audacity. Was she confirming the money rumors? Was she mocking Bambi's alleged outburst? Or was she playing into the scandal to raise her own name? But the most chilling message came from another anonymous account that claimed they had seen the full surveillance footage. The post read, "When y'all see the tape, it won't just ruin one relationship. It's going to end careers." That one line sent the internet into meltdown. What could be so damaging, so career-ending, that people were willing to bury the footage? Suddenly, fans weren't just talking about who cheated on who. They were talking about money laundering, shady business deals, and betrayals that stretched beyond the scope of love and into the territory of survival. And while fans speculated, the cast scrambled. Carly Red, never one to miss a moment, went live laughing. "Chilly, the way this drama keep unfolding. We don't even need producers no more. Y'all giving us storylines for free." Fans couldn't tell if she was amused, messy, or both, probably both. Erica Dixon, Scrappy's ex, added shade of her own, writing in an Instagram story, "Tables always turn. That's why you gotta be careful who you play with." Everyone took it as a dig at Bambi, especially given their rocky past. Even Rashida, normally the calm, composed one, couldn't escape the conversation. After fans spammed her comments with questions about whether she regretted defending Bambi, she posted a cryptic story. "Sometimes you gotta step back and let folks tell on themselves." The words hit like a knife. What started as a messy fight had now become a hurricane of accusations, leaks, and conspiracies. Bambi was being painted as both victim and villain. Scrappy was being called both cheater and betrayed. The alleged new girl was being dragged online and crowned all at once. And behind it all, a surveillance tape loomed like a ghost unseen but powerful enough to keep the world hooked by now. One thing was clear. This wasn't just a scandal. It was a war. And the next move, whether from Bambi, Scrappy, or that unreleased tape, was going to decide who survived and who was destroyed. The streets of Atlanta thought they had seen everything, but what happened in the days following Bambi's dragging out of club Cena proved that the storm was just beginning. The fight footage had gone viral, the leaks had flipped narratives, back and forth, and fans were left exhausted, trying to figure out who was the real villain. But then came the whispers about the missing surveillance tape. The one piece of evidence that could silence the chaos or detonate the truth in a way no one was ready for. At first, it seemed like just another rumor. Blogs speculated, fans joked, insiders teased, but then a blogger with a track record of dropping real receipts made a chilling claim: "I've seen it. And when it drops, careers are over." That one line was enough to send the internet into overdrive. If this wasn't just about jealousy or cheating, if this was about something bigger, then who else was implicated? And why was everyone suddenly so desperate to bury the footage? Behind the scenes, the Love and Hip Hop production team was allegedly in full crisis mode. Cast members were told not to speak publicly. Editors were instructed to scrub certain references from upcoming episodes. Rumors swirled that VH1 executives had even sent legal notices to bloggers, warning them not to release stolen footage. But if history has shown us anything, it's that secrets never stay hidden for long in Atlanta. And then came the leak that shook the entire foundation. A 30-second snippet of what was claimed to be the surveillance tape surfaced on Twitter late one night. The quality was clear, sharper than any fan video, and the angle showed exactly what the shaky cell phone clips had missed. The video began moments before the fight, with Bambi standing near the bar, her friends circling her like a shield. Across the room, Scrappy leaned into his alleged new girl, and she whispered something into his ear. But then she broke away, walked directly toward Bambi, and leaned close. Though the audio was muted, her lips formed words that fans immediately tried to lip read: "He don't want you." The reaction was instantaneous. Fans gasped, bloggers froze the frame, slowed it down, replayed it 100 times. For many, this was the proof they had been waiting for. The fight hadn't been random. It had been provoked. Bambi didn't just snap out of nowhere, she was baited, played, lured into a public meltdown. But the tape didn't stop there. The snippet also showed Scrappy stepping in after the shove, but instead of pulling Bambi back, he placed his arm protectively in front of the new girl, as if shielding her from the chaos. That one gesture confirmed everything fans feared. His loyalty wasn't with his wife. It was with the woman who had humiliated her. The snippet ended abruptly, but the damage was done. Within hours, it had been reposted thousands of times. Hashtag surveillance scandal, and hashtag Team Bambi trended alongside hashtag Scrappy exposed. But if fans thought this was the final word, they were wrong. Because according to the anonymous account that first hinted at it, the 30-second clip was nothing compared to the full video, which allegedly contained conversations that tied the fight to money, betrayal, and business deals gone wrong. And that's when the whispers turned into accusations. Suddenly, names like Jasmine, Young Jock, and even Rashida were being linked to the money rumors. Blogs claimed Bambi had confronted the new girl not just over disrespect, but over whispered threats about money Scrappy owed. Allegedly, some of those debts weren't just personal, they were tied to side deals, appearances, and off-camera hustles that blurred the line between reality TV and survival. If true, then this wasn't just a love triangle. This was a financial scandal wrapped in betrayal. Meanwhile, Bambi broke her silence again, but this time, her tone was different. No screaming, no tears, just ice-cold fury. On Instagram Live, she stared into the camera and said, "Y'all seen the tape now? Y'all know I wasn't lying. I was provoked. I was played. And I promise you, this ain't over. I got my own receipts, and when I drop them, ain't nobody safe. Not him, not her, not the one sitting quiet pretending they innocent." The comments exploded, with fans begging her to release everything she had. But the real cliffhanger came when she added, "This was never just about love. This was about money. And y'all about to see how deep it goes." That line sent shockwaves through the fanbase. If Bambi had proof of financial betrayal tied to Scrappy in his circle, then the fight wasn't just messy, it was dangerous. Suddenly, bloggers were speculating about hidden bank transfers, unpaid contracts, even stolen investments. One gossip page posted, "What if Bam been holding on to proof this whole time? What if the fight was her breaking after being silenced for too long?" Theories spread like wildfire, and fans were divided. Once again, was Bambi the true victim of a setup, or was she just as dirty as the rest, waiting for the right moment to flip the script? Scrappy, for his part, didn't stay quiet. He went live again, pacing, his anger barely contained. "Man, y'all believe whatever y'all wanna believe. But don't get it twisted. Ain't nobody provoking Bam. Ain't nobody baiting Bam. She been messy. She been sneaky. Y'all gone see the real her when the rest of the footage come out." But his words rang hollow for many fans. Because if Bambi was truly messy, Why did the snippet show the new girl making the first move? Why did Scrappy shield the other woman instead of his wife? Those questions haunted every comment section, every tweet, every Instagram story. And then came the revelation that pushed everything into darker territory. A blogger released what they claimed were leaked contracts showing appearance fees tied to Scrappy and the alleged new girl. According to the documents, she had been booked for appearances under the same management company that handled his events. Long before his split from Bambi was public, to fans, this was the smoking gun. She wasn't just a random side piece, she was a calculated move, folded into his business, positioned to benefit from his downfall. The fallout was nuclear. Rashida, dragged back into the mess by association, finally spoke out, writing on her story. Sometimes silence is protection. Not everything needs to be said out loud. Fans interpreted it as a quiet way of distancing herself, but the damage was already done. Carly Red, ever the instigator, posted a meme of Bambi being dragged with the caption, "Atlanta Nights. Hit different." The shade was obvious, the laughter cruel, but fans couldn't look away. Even Yandi, known for her calm, allegedly told friends she was reconsidering her place in the circle. Nobody wanted to be collateral damage in a scandal this deep. By now, the story had spiraled beyond love and hip-hop. Mainstream outlets were covering it, late-night talk shows were joking about it, and fans who had never cared about the show were invested in every leak, every post, every rumor. The memes alone could have filled an entire season, but beneath the laughter and the gossip, there was something more sinister brewing. Because if the whispers were true, if the full surveillance tape really tied the fight to money and betrayal, beyond love, then this wasn't just entertainment, it was evidence. And that's the cliffhanger nobody expected. An anonymous account, the same one that leaked the first snippet, posted one final warning. The full tape is coming. And when it does, it won't just ruin a marriage. It's going to end empires. Fans froze. Was this about Scrappy? Was it about Bambi? Or was it about the entire love and hip-hop machine? For now, nobody knew, but one thing was certain. The fight that began with a smirk in a club had ignited a fire that could burn everything down. The streets of Atlanta had never seen a scandal this raw, this twisted, this destructive. And with every leak, every live, every rumor, the stakes only grew higher. Because in this war, there would be no winners, only survivors. And when the full truth finally drops, the world will have to ask itself, who was really playing who, and how many lives were destroyed, just to keep one secret buried.